If you've been scrolling through endless specs, watching endless YouTube top 10 lists, and still feel stuck between a cheap but shaky laptop and a premium but pricey beast, this review is here to cut through the noise. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent the last few weeks swapping my old workhorse for a brand new MSI Cyborg 15, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how it behaves when you throw it at a real-world gaming night, a study session, and a weekend of video editing. First off, the thing that most people worry about when they pick a gaming laptop is whether it will actually let you play the titles you love without forcing you to dial everything down to the lowest settings. The Cyborg 15 comes with an Intel Core i7-2400H paired with an RTX 5060 and 8GB of GDDR7. On paper that sounds like a mid-range card, but the Blackwell architecture behind the RTX 5060 is surprisingly efficient. In my tests, a recent release like Elden Ring ran at a solid 60 frames per second on medium-high settings at 1080p, and Fortnite comfortably hit 144 frames per second, which means you can actually use the laptop's 144Hz screen the way it was intended. That's a practical win because you're not just getting a high refresh display you'll never use, you're seeing the benefit in games you actually play. Now, let's talk about the display itself. The 15.6-inch IPS panel is Full HD with a 144Hz refresh rate, but it's only 45% of the NTSC color gamut. In everyday use, that means colors look decent for games and movies, but you'll notice a slight washout when you edit photos or watch content with vivid palettes. If you're a serious content creator who needs accurate color reproduction, you'll probably want a separate monitor. For most gamers, though, the high refresh and low input lag outweigh the limited gamut, especially when you're playing fast shooters or battle royales where smoothness matters more than perfect shades. One hidden trade-off that shows up once you start using the laptop for more than a few hours is heat. The Cyborg 15's cooling system does a respectable job, thanks to dual fans and MSI's Cooler Boost technology, but the chassis is relatively slim. When you push the RTX 5060 hard for extended sessions, think a 2-hour Call of Duty marathon. The bottom of the laptop becomes warm to the touch. It's not enough to trigger thermal throttling, but you'll feel the heat, and the fan noise ramps up noticeably. If you plan to game in a quiet environment like a shared apartment or late-night session, you might need to keep the volume a bit lower or use headphones with active noise cancellation. Memory and storage feel more straightforward. The 16GB of DDR5 RAM gives you plenty of headroom for multitasking. Running Discord, Chrome tabs, and a game simultaneously didn't cause any stutter in my experience. The 512GB PCIe SSD loads Windows in under 10 seconds, and games like Valorant or Apex Legends launch in a flash. The downside is that the capacity can fill up quickly if you keep a large library of modern games. The laptop doesn't have an easy access M.2 slot for future upgrades, so you'll need to rely on external USB-C SSDs if you want more space without replacing the whole machine. Battery life is another practical consideration that gets lost in hype. With the RTX 5060 and a 15-inch 144Hz screen, you're looking at roughly 3.54 hours of mixed-use gaming for an hour, then browsing or streaming. That's typical for a gaming laptop in this class, but it's worth mentioning because if you're looking for a device you can take to coffee shops and game on the go, you'll end up needing the charger plugged in more often than not. For a student who needs a laptop for class notes and occasional gaming in the dorm, that's a reasonable compromise. For a digital nomad who expects all-day unplugged performance, you'll probably need a different solution. Who should buy this? If you're a gamer who wants a portable machine that can handle current AAA titles at 1080p without dropping below 60 frames per second, the Cyborg 15 hits the sweet spot. It also works well for students or professionals who need a decent GPU for occasional video rendering or CAD work, but who don't demand the color accuracy of a professional monitor. The inclusion of Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.3 means you'll have fast, stable connections for online multiplayer or streaming, and the two USB 3.2 Gen 1 ports plus an extra USB-C give you enough connectivity for peripherals without resorting to a hub. Who should skip it? If you're chasing a truly premium gaming experience with ray tracing turned all the way on, you'll find the RTX 5060 a bit limiting compared to the RTX 4070 or higher. Also, if you're a creator who lives and breathes color grading, the limited 45% NTSC coverage and modest storage will likely be frustrating. Finally, anyone who expects a silent laptop for late-night study sessions may be put off by the fan's audible ramp-up under load. On the value side, the price point sits nicely between entry-level